Yep, and we are back here on the Caribbean Show. This is Tropics 105.5 FM, and we're still in the love bucket. Usually we decide to take some topics out of the bucket. But again, before we went on break, we were talking about a girl who was dating a guy who's very bad with dealing with life problems, and who would shut down and not speak to anyone all weekend if something went wrong with him. And once he was having a hard week, disappeared for the weekend. And during that weekend, she met someone else and moved in with him for a year. And her thing is, you got to use your words. Honestly, again, I don't see what she did there as wrong, in the sense of, if you are with someone who does not communicate with you, especially if that is your way of communicating, it is very, very hard. It's not easy to essentially like express yourself to somebody who is not willing to express themselves to you. And it's always easy for us to say, oh, well, she's trifling because she shouldn't have done that. And that's the thing. Like, how often, right, do you get ghosted by your partner or left, uncommunicated with? How many times are you? And she said he does this often. So you just disappear, you don't say anything to anybody, and then she's supposed to stay with you and do what exactly? This is my question. Like, what is she supposed to do? Okay? As a person, oftentimes, as a woman, the only thing that you really want is that open level of communication. Don't get me wrong, I'm not out here talking for the toxic women. I'm talking for people with, perfect common sense. Oftentimes what you want is to be validated by your partner, to be reassured that they're with you and that they are into you or whatever. But if you disappear on people, especially people who are dealing with triggers of being abandoned before, you're just going to continue a cycle of toxicity. And don't get me wrong, I believe that if somebody wants to be left alone, you should leave them alone. Because just yesterday we were talking about being a little kinder to other people who need that space. But if you need that space as often as you do, then one, you should probably be seeking some sort of therapy, because that means that everything in your life is so overwhelming all the time that you need to hide into yourself. And that is not okay. Okay? Because anything that comes along that is just a little bit too challenging, if it starts to break you down, you need to start seeking help. And I'm not just talking about this from the perspective of, just talking about it. I've had points where, even the littlest things would trigger me, and I'm just like, I'm just freaking out. I've suffered from anxiety and depression. But you know what I did? I went to therapy, and now I have the tools in order to do this. I'm not perfect. I'm still a little messed up. I'm still a little weird. But at the same time, now I have those tools, and I don't have to I don't have to feel like, for example, I'm always erratic in my behavior, or, you got to run away from this, or you got to run away from that. Now it's a little bit easier. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of his side, where, you need that care, and you need that, that understanding, from your people. But at the same time, you need to help yourself, because your people cannot tiptoe around your madness forever. This is life. This is humanity. This is the world. You live in the world with other people. You cannot ask them to put their life on hold for you. If you feel like everything you are doing is causing you to be triggered and you need to hide from it, you are not an ostrich. You do not hide your head in the sand. You got to get up and you got to keep going, because we don't all get that level of luxury. And I respect the mental health aspect of it, but also you gotta pick yourself up, and you gotta hook yourself up. Now, from her perspective, maybe I wouldn't have just moved in with Skip, but at the same time, she kind of yada over the concept of, how she and Skip got to moving in. Maybe she didn't get with Skip immediately. Maybe she broke up with the dude, first, and then, decided that she wanted to talk to Skip and then move in with him. First of all, shout out to Skip, because Skip was out here, just, yeah, rescuing situation. Yes, Skip. Yes. But at the same time, how much can a person take from their significant other where they're being forced to constantly, like, you're always the one that has to give, you're always the one that has to communicate, you're always the one that's like, okay, well, let's do this and let's do that, and how is your day, and how, and then most of the time when people are like that, they don't ever tell you how they feel. So you're constantly doing all of the emotional work. You're taking up all of the emotional baggage and the burden. And after a while, it's like, yo, I didn't sign up for this. I am not your mother. I am not a therapist. I have my problems that I'm trying to work on, but still be here for you. Still be clear and open and communicating for you. Nah. Shout out to Homegirl, because she went on to Skip. She did not even stress this man. And he does this to his friends and you. Yeah, he wasn't going to change. So it's okay. Just go through. Go through. I don't know. Maybe you guys have a differing opinion, but this is just my opinion today. All right? Shout out to Homegirl for moving on to Skip. Perhaps, maybe she shouldn't have just moved on and, just left him. But either way, you leave her all the time. So you got to imagine that if you leave a pot unattended, it's going to burn. And it's going to burn you. Anyway, guys, this is the Caribbean Show here on Tropics 105.5 FM. Keep it locked. We have a lot more for you coming in. All right? Yes.